evening, Bravo Nice. This is Dr. Lopez, principal of Bravo Medical Magnet High School, and here we are with a new edition of our podcast, Good Night Podcast. Thank you for joining us. Today we have a very, very special edition, our first of the year for this academic year, and I have, as usual, some great guests with me today. But today, our guests are our new Knights, our new faculty Knight members, and I'm very glad and happy to introduce them to you. First, I'd like to introduce Mr. Bustillos, one of our science teachers. So welcome, Mr. Bustillos. And then I'll introduce Mr. Vera. He is joining us in the physical education department. Ms. Berelleza, who is teaching in the world languages department. Ms. Garcia, one of our RSP teachers, one of our new RSP teachers, and Mrs. Tennel, who is in our social studies department. So welcome to all of you. I hope that your experience so far here at Bravo has been as good as it has been, I think, for most of us. But I don't want to assume, so I would like to ask the question to all of you. How is it going? What do you think? How do you feel? How was the transition to Bravo Medical Magnet? And anyone can share.
Okay, I'll go ahead and share. The transition to Bravo has been way better than I thought it would be. I come from a small school, so the transition of coming from a small school to a bigger community kind of got me a little nervous. But honestly, everyone has been very, very nice, very, very welcoming, very, very helpful. So it has been a smooth transition, and I'm very grateful to be part of the Knight family.
Thank you, Ms. Berelleza. Anyone else?
Well, I feel the same way. I came from a community where it was just small. It was only 13 teachers. I think there's like 80 here. And getting to know everyone was so welcoming. They all approached, introduced themselves. And I like the age. I like connecting, making these type of connections with the students. I worked with little ones, and it's a different type of connection here. There's a one-on-one dialogue, and they're expressing their feelings, and you get to know them. And you're able to, if you get to know them, you're able to meet their needs, right? So I really like it there.
That's good to hear.
I think I agree. I can't agree more with you guys because I also come from a very, very small school. Here at Bravo, I mean, I'm just every day I'm shocked, I'm stunned of the kind of students.
I hope you're not all saying this because the principal's.
Oh no,
You know, I'm out. That's all right. I was bringing it up to you during the transition from second period breakfast in class. You know, students are always eager and their ambition. They're always asking about what's next, what's coming up next in PE. At least in my classes, they're always excited what's coming for the next lesson. Something that is not really common. It's usually in PE, but I'm very happy and I'm being challenged. I'm being pushed to my limit, and I'm very happy because Bravo students, I would say they're very high performing. Now I believe they're very high performing students, right? Because I'm seeing it with my own eyes, and every day I'm ready to deliver high world-class physical education in my classes.
Thank you, Mr. Vera.
Yeah.
Tennel, Mr. Bustillos?
Yeah, I mean, it's been awesome. I don't come from a small school. I've always been in schools this size, even back to like when I was in high school, but I am coming from not a magnet school, and I think coming from a kind of more general population high school to a magnet program high school is, I feel, a pretty big difference, and it's definitely, I think, an easier transition going this way than it would be if you started here and went out. But yeah, I mean, really echoing like what Mr. Vera said, it's been like the kids just are ready to jump into stuff. And so it's been an adjustment of going from trying to kind of build enthusiasm to coming into an environment where like the enthusiasm is there. And now I just get to work with that. But, you know, also echoing what was said, like the staff's been super welcoming. Everybody seems very like organized and ready to help. So yeah, I mean, I'm not just saying it because the principal's here. I've been telling all of my friends, like when I get asked how it's going at the new school, I'm like, oh my God, it's amazing.
Yeah. also from a smaller school in this case, so about half the size. Um, but I've definitely noticed the different caliber of student here. I came from a medical magnet. I'm familiar with linked learning, so these things weren't new to me. But being asked a question I've never been asked before, I was asked was, is this really going to be challenging enough? Am I going to be pushed hard enough? And I was like, I'm used to teaching seniors. I'm not used to getting that question because now I have the 11th graders. And it's just like, it threw me in a very good way because I was like, this is definitely going to be a different environment. And so far, it's been very true in a very good way.
Well, that's good to hear. Good to hear. And I don't know if you all know, I don't know if I shared it before, but I was a teacher here. Also, I taught here for 11 years. And I loved it too. It was great. It was great. But there are always challenges. There are, nothing is perfect, right? And if everything was perfect, then it would be a little boring, I think. Not that I want challenges all the time, but we do have some special needs that we need sometimes. Are there any challenges, any potential problems that you think you may encounter or have encountered? And what are some of the things that maybe you see yourself maybe contributing even to our program, our community? Because we're also learning, we're also always growing, right? So it's great to have new blood because we get new ideas. We don't want to get stuck in this idea of the Bravo way. We want to do away with that Bravo way thing, because that means if we ever get to the Bravo way, that means we're not going to continue to learn. We're not going to continue to grow. The Bravo way is to keep on changing, to keep on learning, to keep on growing. That is really what the Bravo way is. So anyway, I don't want to. Are any challenges or any worries that you have so far?
This challenge is kind of more personal, but it goes back to the topic that I come from a small school. So my first challenge in these few weeks that I've had is the grading. So before I used to grade 60 papers, I had 60 students, and now it's like 140. So it's just managing my time, prioritizing. What am I going to grade? How am I going to give them feedback? I am a teacher who's always advocating to provide feedback so the students know, what did I miss? What's wrong? Not just grade, but actually help them grow. So I'm working with it. I think I'm getting a little better these few weeks, but like I always say, like being a teacher, it's always part of just growing and adjusting to things. So even though it's a challenge, like I feel like I could overcome it.
Yeah, that was actually the one weakness I had all through my teaching career. Yes. How much do you give? Because whatever you give, you gotta give back with feedback. And so if it's important to assign, it's important to give them back with grades and feedback. Right? And that's a challenge. Anyone else?
I don't know if it's a challenge, but I remember teaching here during the summer of 2025, this just past summer, and we had a conversation where you give me a tour of the campus, and give me a tour of the PE area, but it was pretty interesting, and then I was curious to see like our facilities for PE, right? So something that I had to do just to kind of break the ice was to go to the park, because our PE facilities kind of like the park, right? I was a little bit concerned about the facilities at first, but then my colleagues, they made it very, very easy, and they were very helpful in giving me ideas of different fitness activities I could do at the park. So I think the most important thing is just being creative out there, because it's an open public park. I see you at the park getting your steps in all the time, and the kids love the park. The kids love the park all the time. But we don't have a traditional standard track like a traditional high school like Roosevelt or Garfield. But hopefully in the future we do, right? I foresee staying here for many years, and I think we have a good amount of space to, I don't know if it's crazy to talk about this, but I know I vision myself bringing a big impact and working with different big companies like maybe the Rams, LAFC, Angel City to bring a football field on this side of the land, right? It's crazy to talk about it right now, right? It's my fourth week of being here at Bravo, but um, yeah, I mean that was one of my concerns and curiosity. Teaching PE at a public park, right? How I've never thought, I've never saw myself teaching PE at a public park. We have a beautiful gym, by the way, and it kind of you could do a lot of lessons there, a lot of units. But that was I could say one of the challenges. Could not be a challenge. I'm not sure at first.
It's
but,
one of the things we talk about all the time.
Mhm.
How do
Yeah.
we keep the kids safe and you guys safe? Right?
Yeah.
And so getting my steps in actually is a way for me to keep an eye, supervise, and especially now that we have this ICE thing going on and just being out there and present and trying to, ID potential. But yeah, it is a problem. It is a problem, especially because we do have some high needs neighbors on that side. Not all of them, but there's projects and there's a group of kids there that had given us some work. So we keep an eye on them.
I did find it fascinating, though, that the kids would exercise at a park when I saw it. When I realized we didn't have an area for exercising, and they said, oh, they go to the park. I'm like, well, that's nice. The fresh air, the trees. It depends how you look at it, right? But, I mean, who wouldn't want to be at a park when you're in school, when you're supposed to be in school?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So the challenge that I find since I'm a resource teacher is being able to get to those classes because they're so spread out, all my students, finding where they're at, introducing myself, getting to know them, their needs. And I know they come looking for me because they have problems. They want to change classes or they need work with their schoolwork. So my challenge right now is getting to know all of them because it's a high caseload. I'm not used to having so many kids on my roster and being able to find time to talk to them and see what they need, right? And I'm growing here. I've never had a resource position, and I find myself actually enjoying learning. After years of being in the same grade, you realize not that you stop learning, but you don't learn at the same enthusiastic way that you were at the beginning as a teacher. Yeah, so it's a challenge, but I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. So like something that I was maybe not concerned about, but that I was, interested to discover was for me for linked learning at the school. My last environment, there was just that teacher burnout happening, and so that frustration extended to linked learning. And so for me, getting excited about it because I love this idea of cross-curricular work-based learning, like getting our students out into these fields and getting to practice really engaging, really relevant content, right? I was really excited about that. I think it's a great concept. I think it's something that rightfully should be prioritized. And so coming here, I was nervous about how the attitude was going to be. And so when I finally got to kind of talk to some of my team members on the 11th grade patient care pathway with me, I was really thrilled to find out that they're all excited for trying something new. They're all really invested in working together and collaborating and actually pushing their boundaries a little bit, pushing my boundaries too. All of us pushing our boundaries, right? And trying something new. And so I'm very excited to work with them on developing a new project. I don't want to reveal the chicken before it's even been born, but before the egg's been laid. But it's something that we're working on that I think is going to be really meeting all of those goals of relevant, engaging, rigorous, and hopefully just something that the students walk away from feeling really meaningful, And I think overall, just having that attitude in general is really, really refreshing, both among the students and the staff.
It's good. It's good to hear.
I'll just kind of, I guess, finish it out. I think one thing that's a challenge or maybe not a challenge, but something that I'm finding myself needing to just be aware of and be conscious of is in my last placement. I think that I had a lot more learners kind of across the whole spectrum. I had a lot of English learners. I had a lot of special ed students. I had a lot of like low, moderate, high performing students. And here I think we have a lot more weight on that higher end of the spectrum. And so I'm very conscious that I don't want to move too quickly or ignore, some of the scaffolding that I had previously built in, because there are still students across the spectrum. And even though we have a lot at the top, I want to make sure that I'm still providing adequate support for everybody. And I think that one thing that is really helpful for that is that we do have resources here, like the fact that some of our special ed students have a learning center, the fact that I have 2 days a week bilingual TA for just one English learner. Like there's a lot of support, and so I think I'm navigating how to like best tap into that so that all of my students feel like they have what they need to be successful. And then the other challenge for me is just that I'm teaching a class, so English is kicking my butt a little bit.
Yeah, I think that your first time teaching an AP course is going to be a challenge.
Yeah, and English is a tough one.
Yeah.
So I did AP Human Geography at my last school, but that's meant it's mostly for ninth graders, and now I'm like, oh, I see why that one's considered easier than this one. Got it. So moving fast.
Yeah. And I think so I was gonna go into another direction actually, just to change things a little bit. But one of the things that we do as a team is we talk about you guys behind your back.
Good to
know. We talk about you guys, your skills, your interest, your knowledge, your experience that you're bringing to us, and how can we tap into it? How can we support you in becoming even the better teacher that you want to be? And so, just know that we met already, but when we talk about, and we don't talk about just the administrative team, but in the ILT team, the instructional leadership team, we talk about all these potential ways in which we can bring you in and provide that support that you may not have for the push class, or the linked learning experience that you bring to us, the incredible knowledge and experience and energy that you're bringing to your programs. And so how do we tap into that, and how do we keep supporting it so that we don't burn you out, right? So the last thing we want to do is to give you so much that you burn out your first year here. But expect a little bit more. That's that's the attitude that we have. But the other direction that I was going to go into, I keep talking to my kids every now and then and tell them that if I had a TikTok account to share just the crazy things I hear from kids every now and then, I'd have material for a good number of years, just sharing crazy things, and I probably have 1 million followers because kids. I probably go viral, right? With all the crazy things that I hear kids saying, and without naming any names, I'll share with you one story, and that is, and if you're watching, you'll know who you are, but I'm not going to name you. So I encountered two kids having an argument, a young lady and a young man, and apparently the young man had given the young lady $20, just given $20, and she thought, oh, okay, $20, right? So she goes and spends them, and then he wants his money back, and so I was just being nice, and I was just giving her $20, but I want it back. But did you say you were borrowing, or what? No, and I want my money back, and so crazy, and there's a little bit more to the story. Any anecdotes that you've encountered already of crazy stuff at Bravo?
I have an anecdote, and it's not crazy. It was just it was the first week. It was one of the first days, and I had at Santee, where I came from, I had one student who had been here before, who did freshman year at Santee, came over here for sophomore year, went back to Santee junior year, and I had her. And long before I had ever applied here, she was like, oh yeah, I came from Bravo. I was like, oh yeah, I've heard good things about that school. And she was like, yeah, they're all nerds. Which was hilarious because also she was such a nerd. And I was like, right, you should probably still be there. But then I came here and like day 2 or something, I heard 2 boys getting in an argument during lunch right outside my room about who was more MIT material. And I was like, okay, I see it. And then like later that same day, I was like leaving the classroom for the day, I think, and I was walking down the hallway, and just a random student was like, oh, you're the new teacher. How are you liking it here at Bravo? It's a really great place to be a teacher. And I was like, so sweet. And also pretty nerdy. So it was, but that's like my favorite type of student. So when I heard, these 2 different things in the same day, I was like, I'm going to love it here. This is great.
We actually have a class, a nerdy class.
Really?
Right.
It's a science group. It's the nerds.
That's the actual name.
Yeah, it's their name. And they do a presentation for incoming 9th graders during the summer. And they did wonderful. They did crazy things in the gym, and they just wowed and wooed everyone. And so yeah, they're proud nerds.
So I did a new assignment this year in like my opening week activities, and so I let each of my 11th graders ask me 2 questions of anything about me, as long as it wouldn't fall under a mature rating on a movie, right? So anything short of that, we're good, right? So I didn't give them limitations beyond just appropriateness. And I got a lot of the basic questions of like, how'd you come here? Why'd you become a teacher? Things like that. But even in those opening conversations, I've already had a few students ask me like questions that start off as very personal for me, but then it transitioned into like asking for advice for them on very like personal, intimate matters I'm not going to discuss here, but just things that were like clearly very meaningful to them, right? And to me, like that was like, I think it showed that they're open to being open, right? They're open to these social emotional skills that we want to impress upon them, and that we want them to feel comfortable with. And so like getting that in week 2 of already dealing out like serious advice was very meaningful to me, like seeing how they were willing to offer me that trust and take advice on stuff that was very serious to them, so that was very heartwarming to me.
And Mr. Bustillos just shared that he did that strategy. I share that strategy because I went to visit his class and I stole it from him.
Oh.
So I don't want to out him at that time. But yeah, that's where it came from. And I'm actually going to use it again for a different purpose because I think it applies to different circumstances. So yeah, thank you for sharing. That was very awesome. Anyone else?
I think I agree with Austin. Just the fact that like the students see us as teachers, but then it's like that little curiosity where they're always asking random questions. And like this week, a student's like, "Miss, what's your favorite thing about California?" And I'm like, In and Out. And he's like, "Oh my gosh, me too." So then we just started talking about like, just interest, personal interest, and it just keeps building up. Also, as a teacher, I'm very short. So I have gotten confused by being a student. So one of the staff members, the students are not allowed to go to the restroom without the pass. So they were just joking with me and they're like, "Hey kid, get to class." And I'm like walking in my conference period. So it's just little things like that, like that they're funny, and they're like, they just bring like a smile to my face and maybe to others too. And also in parent conference, the parents, when they saw that I was greeting them at the door, they thought that I was the teacher's assistant and that I was another student. And then when I came up to actually like present my classroom, they're like, "Oh my gosh, Miss, you look so young." And I'm like, "Yes, I know, I look like your student, but no, I'm actually a teacher." But it's just like they say it in a nice way, which is really heartwarming. And also the students are always like, Miss, please tell us your age. What is it? And I always keep them wondering. So I will get ages from 18 to 25 around there. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm somewhere around there. But it's just a nice environment. It's really nice that besides being a teacher, like they kind of show that interest. Like, oh, I want to know a little bit about you, like a little more. And like he said, sometimes they're asking like these weird, like too personal questions where I'm like, okay, back to our topic. But sometimes they do ask questions that you could just share with them.
Yeah.
So it's nice.
We don't all have to answer that question. But as I was listening to you, I actually thought of a different thing, and I think I mentioned it to you that years back we had something called "If You Only Knew Me" or "If You Knew Me," right? And so sharing a little bit more about who we are as human beings, and obviously we don't share everything there is to be shared about us because our lives are very, very complex, complicated, if you will, full. Good in many ways, challenging in many ways, I'm assuming. But there are some things that if kids knew about me, I think they would probably see me in a different light. One of the things that I shared last time was that not too long ago, I took up weight training. And out of nowhere, I just, I never saw myself as a gym rat, and all of a sudden, I am a gym rat. And trying to meet different goals and expectations. And so, yeah, my challenge was, how can I deadlift this much? So if you knew me, I am the principal, but I also go to the gym. I try to stay active. I do the trails. I'm more than just the principal. Anything you would like to share that, would maybe help kids see you in a more human kind of a way that is safe to share, obviously.
I think just adding to that conversation, if I think back of when I was in high school, I could have sworn that my teachers were just my teachers. Like they would be in the classroom, they go home, and they come back to the classroom like that. They didn't have a life. So I remember I would see my teachers like at the grocery store, and I'd be like, "What are they doing here?" Like if they don't go grocery shopping. But I want to tell the students we all have a life. We all do have hobbies, just like Dr. Lopez mentioned. And I think that when we're just high school students, we just see our teachers, like I said. But until you start growing up, you're like, oh, wait, this is actually me now. Like now I'm in that position. So I would have never thought that my teachers would like to go to concerts or would like to go to amusement parks. And those like things I enjoy. So it's like we are humans. We have our hobbies outside of our educational profession.
I love Magic Mountains too.
So I think what I'm hearing is just sharing, making connections with them. Like I said, there's a dialogue that can go on, but once you make the connection with them, you welcome questions from them, and you welcome for them to come to you with a problem. So that's what I like about high school, that you can speak to these children. Because I was scared coming in because I thought they were going to be adults, but they really are big kids. Big kids that still need guidance and still need the fundamental learning, right? So I enjoy being here.
Well, in PE, there's a lot of ways to make connections, but I think one of the greatest way I made a connection with students is by playing music. So in my classes, I play music, and everybody was shy to make a playlist. I told them, hey, have somebody appoint somebody to make a playlist, right? At least minimum or maximum 10 songs, as long as they're appropriate. And nobody would want to make a playlist. So I made my own playlist. So now that I made my own playlist, right, they call me a Swiftie. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, I play Swiftie, I play Olivia Rodrigo, and everybody likes it. And, like, they call me Swiftie now. I'm like, okay, cool. Didn't think I was a Swiftie, right? But I told them, hey, I've been to a Taylor Swift concert, and I like her. She's a great performer. She has a great performance, and yeah, I mean, that's a way I made a connection with them, and they love the music in my class, right? And I think it's a great way to promote student engagement, student participation. The students are more prone to participate in activities. Students that don't like to work out, I play that Taylor Swift song or the Rodrigo song, and they get going. And I've never seen so many students being engaged in physical activity until I got to Bravo. I got to Bravo, and I don't know what it was, but I think it's just more than music, right? Um, it's just they're motivated, they're inspired, and yeah, I mean having great leaders like Dr. Lopez is also a good thing because we set the bar up high here at Bravo, and that's something that I'm very happy about. And it's a family. Bravo here is a family that I've always dreamed about, and I'm very happy to be here. Um, yeah, no, music has been great in my class, and that's a way I connect with students and build relationships. So
I like that idea of
yeah,
music. I really do. That's a good idea.
it
Yeah,
is.
several teachers use music here too.
And if you
Yeah.
think about it, when you do go to the gym and you do work out, you have headsets. There's a reason
Mhm.
why everyone's walking around with headsets because you need that music for motivation.
Mhm.
And the fact that you can do it in PE and it's
Mhm.
okay, I
Mhm.
think that's awesome.
Mhm.
I think one of the, and then we're going to get into teaching things right here, right? But I think one of the things about music is it's a community tool. It's a community building tool, right? So if we use it appropriately to build community, I think it's a great tool. But to let kids, have the headphones individually and not pay attention or not be aware, that can be a dangerous thing to do. But definitely be building community. Music is a universal language, and many things are universal, but like food and food and food and more food. But yeah, a great idea. Thank you for sharing that. Anyone else?
Yeah. So one of my other things that I do is I have them read some letters from past students, and then I have them write like, "What was your first impression of me?" Right, just so I kind of have an idea of how they're perceiving me, and gives them a chance to reflect. Right, even if we haven't covered any content yet, just get in this habit of thinking about the things we've done. Right, in this case was just getting to know me in that initial first couple weeks. So many of them said that their first impression of me was like, "Oh my gosh, like he's like, well, we thought like because you're a science teacher that you're going to be super strict, and that you're going to be like very like hard case about it." And I was surprised that it's like at least half of them wrote that for their reflections that they thought I was going to be this very strict person. I'm like, no, like that is not me. Like I'm going to push you to get your stuff done. I'm going to push you to better yourself, but I'm not going to sit there over your shoulder and hold your pencil for you and make sure that like I'm not going to be hovering, right? I'm going to make sure we're all working. I'm going to make sure we're all on task. I'm going to make sure we're having a good time, but that is not who I am. But I think just how I physically appear kind of gives that image, and so I work to make myself intentionally very disarming. Because I want all of my students to feel comfortable around me and to feel accepted and to feel like they have a safe space to learn.
Yeah, and I did see that strategy also. I did see you doing that in your class, and it reminded me. And I'm going to make a suggestion here. It reminded me of an activity I do with parents when I do a parent workshop. And one of the activities I do with them is I have them write a letter to their kid that I will give to the student at the end of the year, right? So I want the parents to write a letter to the kids saying how much they love them, how much they support them, and what are their hopes and dreams for them, and how proud they are of them. And I keep the letter. I do it at the beginning of the year, and I keep the letter and I give it to them in June. So something that you want to share your kid, that you want to say to your kid, and have them read that in June. And so they do. They write, and I do that. And I was thinking about it when you were doing that, and I was thinking maybe it'd be a good idea to have them write themselves a letter, thinking about this is the kind of learner I am. this is the kind of fear that I have. These are my weaknesses, and I'm hoping to see this in this class. So I'm hoping that at the end of the year I can do this and keep it, and then give it to them at the end of the year and see, hey, what happened? Did you not? You know?
During graduation, I did that at Santee. One of my friends in the English department would have them write letters in 11th grade, and then at the end of 12th grade, when they were graduating, she'd give them their letters. And she would like track them down, like if they moved schools or whatever, she was like finding them for their letters.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a good way to reflect. I was thinking about that. I haven't done that, but I thought, oh, that would be a good idea. So thank you for sharing that. I think when we can make connections with them about them and help them reflect about them, I think that's part of the teaching and the maturing and the growing. Okay, but we're getting ready for our last or to the end of our podcast. But one of the things I wanted to ask you is, what do you hope to see still at Bravo? What do you hope to experience at Bravo? Any plans, any ideas? How you still see yourself maybe in 2, 3, 5 years from now?
Well, like I said a couple of minutes ago, I'm working with Good Sports organization right now with a grant, so they could donate a lot of equipment to sports programs, to the PE program, and I foresee working and partnering up with LA Rams, LAFC, Angel City FC. That's a women's soccer team. Hopefully, we could work together with the district, and one day, why not a football field? Why, right? Like, it's like, I think it's a lot of students talk about it. A lot of freshmen that are in my class, they asked me if we had a football team, and I thought we did have a football team because Mr. Martinez said that we were undefeated, and I was like, wow.
I have that saying.
I was like, wow, we have a great football team.
Oh, you didn't tell me about the pool up on the fifth floor?
Yeah, so I see myself hopefully in 5 to 10 years, I think I'm going to be very proud of myself coming back and seeing this podcast. Something, it's a dream. It's a dream not only for me, but for the community, for Bravo's history, and for Dr. Lopez as well, because you're the one that brought me in here and helped me get into the school, and you saw the potential I have, and that's why I want to bring all my resources, all my contacts to the table, so Bravo could become the best school in the east side, because we have Garfield, Roosevelt, and we want to be up there as well. I mean, we're already up there, but sports programs are very important to me. So hopefully I can make an impact, and I know I will, and I'm not gonna stop. Communicating with the Good Sports, these big companies that are gonna donate, and hopefully the district listens, and hopefully they'll listen to us and what we want and what the students want, what the community needs, right? And football field with a small track, I think it's possible. I envision it, and hopefully it's not too crazy to talk about it, but I see it coming, hopefully in the future, and I'm all in with all the desire, with all the energy. Yeah.
Anyone else?
Well, it's a good question though, because I guess, I don't know, but this is our first year, right? So we're trying to survive. We're trying to learn. I really want to learn the resource department, but I want to be able to see myself connecting with the students. I have we're a total of 5 resource teachers, but when I came, my colleagues, they have such a great connection with the kids. They remember them from freshman year, and they're seniors, or they're 2 grades up. And I see them connect, and I like the way they're able to remember their needs or what they like, and they're able to help them. So I'm hoping that baby steps, maybe we'll be able to learn what my students need and be able to meet their needs. That's my goal.
Yeah, I don't know if I can think 5 years in the
Yeah.
future, but like this year, I'm looking forward to. I already went to volleyball game for a little while before back to school night. I want to go to all the different sports games that are, the teams that my students are in. I always like doing that. I'm excited. I got kind of like accidentally roped into becoming the advisor for the astronomy club that is going to start. But then after talking to some of the kids that are going to be the officers, I'm really excited about it. I am looking forward also, like, I think, what Miss Garcia said, like building the connections at my previous school. Like I said, like in the beginning, it was a lot of trying to really build motivation to learn and excitement about learning. And then once we kind of like got that train rolling, then the relationships really took off from there. And second semester was always so much more fun and such a different vibe compared to first semester. And here, like right off the bat, I feel like a lot of that is going really well. So I'm like, oh my gosh, what's second semester going to be like? If first semester is already like this, So just getting to continue deepening those relationships as well. So I'm just excited to kind of get to chart a full year here at Bravo and experience it all, and then maybe I can think about 5 years from now.
And they're gonna hit you up, all of you. I'm pretty sure, because I think my second year they came to me and they said, "Hey, we need a sponsor for the folklorico club or the folklore." Yeah. And I'm like, I don't dance folklorico. And no, it doesn't matter. We'll teach you. And I'm proud to say that after that, with that folklorico program is going strong here at Bravo. And it's a couple of my students have taught the program. They came back as staff members and they taught the program. And I actually just started teaching it again this semester. So I'm back in the classroom, 0 period, teaching folklorico. So. It's something that I enjoy now, thoroughly enjoy, and I went back to Mexico, University of Guadalajara, to learn more, and it's just been an amazing experience for me. So I'm glad they.
I got cornered. I was going to the bathroom and they were asking a different teacher to be the advisor, and that teacher said no, and then I saw her go like blah 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 blah, new teacher.
I've gotten roped into 2 so far.
I'm drawing the line at 1, but I'm excited.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about astronomy, so I'm going to learn.
For me, it's something that I've always brought into my teaching with science. When I was in high school, science for me was like, it was all memorization. It was like, sit here, flashcards, vocab. If you have a good memory, you can do well on the tests. And I did great at that. And then I went to college, and college happened, and it was so different of what the expectations were. And I was like, this was not at all what you prepared me for. You did not properly prepare me for this by just focusing on this one aspect of learning. So when I got into teaching science, and I knew that students had this preconceived notion of what science was, and a lot of them think it's very boring, and that it's like just so technical and hard to access. And so for me, I was like, well, I'm going to change that. I don't want them to be bored in my class. I don't want them to think that, if they don't have a good memory, that they can't succeed in science, because that isn't science. Mm-hmm. Science isn't learning what other people have done, not by itself. Mm-hmm. It is taking what other people have done and building on it and trying new things. And not only that, not only just discovering these amazing things about how our world works, but communicating that to people around you and being able to think beyond yourself in these contexts, right? So especially like getting to teach physiology in the human body, like I'm very, it's really the class I've taught the majority of every year I've been a teacher. And so I've always been thinking about, how do I incorporate this science and these human skills teaching the human body? So for me, my development is always going to be focused on, how do I get students to not be bored in science? How do I get them to see that science is not just sitting here and memorizing flashcards? I mean, there are times that's necessary, of course, right? Especially for our students who want to go to med school. There is so much memorization involved. But that's not what medicine is. That isn't what science is. And so I want to really push them to see that they need to use their humanity just as much as they need to use their memory, that they need to be able to think critically, think collaboratively, and all these different skills, because that's what the world's going to be like. And for them to succeed in it, they can't just sit and memorize what they're told. They have to be able to do so much more. And so I want to push them for that. And I also want them to see the fun that can be had in that, you know. My students it's basically going to be an English class with how much writing they're going to be doing, because I want to really incorporate, I want to get their minds out of AI. You know, I think that is stripping away a lot of our creativity and our intelligence as humans. And so I want to get them back to paper. I want to get them to take these science skills, take these human concepts, combine it all together, and actually like use your brain when you do it. You know, show me that you can succeed in any context, regardless of whether you want to actually go into science or not.
Thank you for sharing. If there is anything, I was going to ask you a couple of more things, but I think we're running out of time. If you had a chance, and you can think about this and do it later, if you had a chance to tell the principal something that you think should be fixed right now, right here, now, by all means, send me an email or whatever. I would have asked you to do that right here. You know, you have a chance. You have me here.
So glad we ran out of time.
Right, I did it purposely.
Yeah.
But then the other thing is, this is my 36th year serving in the district, and I've learned a lot. I've grown a lot. But one of the things that I've grown, and I keep repeating to my staff, is take care of yourself. Your job, you have a professional responsibility, and you need to make sure you are able to meet that. But you have a personal responsibility to yourself and to your family to be well emotionally, to be well physically, to be well all around. So take care of yourself. Find something to make sure that you are doing well, that you are decompressing, that you are, doing something for yourself. That is important. Very, very important. And again, I'm not saying neglect your responsibilities. What I'm saying is make sure you're balanced. Make sure you find balance in your life. Because this is I still think, the greatest profession that we could ever find. I love teaching and learning. I love education. But I also know that it can be very, very it can eat you up, right? It can take your energy. It can take your whole being if you're not careful. And we have all kinds of things to worry about: external things, internal things. The last thing we want is for you to forget about yourself. And so, take care of yourself. And if I can do anything to help, let me know. In the meantime, thank you for joining us for another session of our Good Night podcast. And as always, be a good night.